Kamusta?
What's up mga kagham?
Excited na ba kayo sa 2021 NSTW?
Markahan nyo na ang inyong mga kalendaryo ngayong November 22 to 28, 2021.
Magkita-kits tayo sa 2021 NSTW.
Handog ng DUST 2021 NSTW and Science for the People.
Regional Science and Technology Week. RSTW is a regional celebration of the National Science and Technology Week. It is conducted and spearheaded by the Department of Science and Technology regional offices across the country. It also serves as a run-up to the national celebration. This year's celebration carries the theme Agham at Teknolohiya, Tugon sa Hamon ng Panahon. The NSTW highlights the significant contributions of science and technology to the national development and has become a platform for heralding S&T advocacy in the country. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, this will be the second year in a row wherein most of the festivities will be held online. So you will continue to enjoy the many offerings of RSTW and NSTW right at the comfort of your home. So what's in store for the 2021 RSTW Davao? DOST Region 11 brings you the 2021 RSTW Davao official lineup of activities. November 3, online launching, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. The Science of Chocolate, 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. November 4, Conservation Education Initiatives for the Philippine Eagle amid the pandemic, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Additive Manufacturing on Medical Applications, 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. November 5, Science and Tech amid the pandemic, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Awarding of Best Setup and CES Implementers, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. November 8 to 9, Guide Awareness and the Use of Gender Fair Language Webinar. November 10, Youth Excellence in Science Awards, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. November 12, In Focus, Davao's Research Agenda, 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. November 16 to 18, 2021 Rise Davao Final Round. November 19, Digital Tayo, Digital Empowerment, 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. November 22, Science from the Eagle's Nest, Episode 1, Halal S&T Program, 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. November 24, Episode 2, Grind Program, 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. November 25, Episode 3, Renewable Energy Resource Potential in the Philippines, 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. November 26, Digital Tayo, Digital Engagement, 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. These are open and free to all. Join and have a chance to win prizes. National Science and Technology Week, Agham at Teknolohiya, Tugon sa Hamon ng Panahon.
makes the OST 11 different from other regions or other regional offices of the OST is that we consciously and actively engage the pentahelix sectors of society. When we develop programs and projects, we make sure that even at the conceptualization stage of these programs and projects, all these sectors are engaged. We get their views, and we make sure that everyone has a voice in the development of the programs and projects that we want to implement in the communities. And that is part of inclusive development, making sure that all the sectors of society are not just beneficiaries, but active players and partners in the development process.
Madayao, Davao, and welcome to the post-celebration of the Regional Science and Technology Week in Davao Region with the theme Agama Teknolohiya Tugon sa Hamon ng Panahon. This afternoon, along with our speaker, we are going to talk about the research agenda in Davao Region at the high school level. Just a few reminders, don't forget to register through the link posted on the chat box. Also take note that only those who have completed our evaluation form will be given certificates. So, please settle down as we'll begin in a few minutes. Once again, good afternoon to our Zoom, FB, and YouTube live viewers. Maayong hapon sa tanan. We are now in the post-celebration of the Regional Science and Technology Week in Davao region. I am Jenner Guria, and I would like to welcome you for today's webinar. In Focus, Davao's research agenda. To start our virtual activity, we are requesting everyone to rise for the singing of the national anthem and the opening prayer.
Bayang magiliw.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Bayang magiliw, sa silanganan, alam ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyad ka ng magiting, sa manlulupin, di ka pasisingin, sa dagat at puno, sa simoy, sa langit bubukang, may nilaghang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kisap ng matawag mo'y tagumpay na nagdidinig. Ang bituin at araw niya kanyang pamay magdidinig. Lupa ng araw na luwal aking pagsinta mo'y langit sa piling mo. Ang ligaya na pagpay mag-aapi, ang mga tayo dahil sa'yo.
Let us put ourselves in the presence of our Lord. Our loving Father, the ultimate goal of every knowledge seekers, the infinite wisdom, the cause of all that is good. We praise and thank you for this opportunity for us to gather as a community. Despite the challenges we face each day, you remained and gave us strength to carry on the responsibilities of bearing intelligence and using this for better purposes. We humbly ask you to join us in our endeavor to explore the wonders of life and the world, that in whatever we learn today, we become more grounded to you. We pray that you bless our speakers, the fount of your infinite knowledge, that they can share something worthwhile despite the limited time we have. We pray that you guide our participants, the seekers of your boundless knowledge. We ask you to open their eyes to see the wonderful things from this activity. Open their ears so that they may retain the invaluable knowledge, and that they may continue to persevere in the search and be deemed worthy to share what they learn from today's session. Sanctify us, O Lord, not because we are worthy of it, but because we believe in your love and mercy. At the end of today, we can take home something that's amazing and meaningful. This we ask and pray through Christ our Lord. Amen.
All right. Once again, good afternoon to all our participants. So at this juncture, to formally welcome us in this webinar, let us hear a message from our dynamic and outstanding leader. Help me welcome the Regional Director of the Department of Science and Technology, Region 11, Dr. Anthony C. Sales, CESO 3.
Madayaw, thank you for joining us today in this virtual activity. This year's online Regional Science and Technology Week Davao will showcase technologies, innovations, and updates on DOST programs and projects and collaborative partnerships that talk about relevant issues and practical solutions that will benefit every Filipino. With the theme Agham at Teknolohiya, Tugon sa Hamon ng Panahon, we will highlight the significant contributions of S&T to national development, including efforts and initiatives of the entire scientific community in the areas of health, education, food safety, food security, digital empowerment, renewable energy, as well as the department's involvement in nurturing grassroots innovations and increasing the research and development capacity of the Davao region. We would also like to invite everyone to witness as DOST highlights the accomplishments of our flagship programs, including SETUP, CEST, and the Halal program. We enjoy your support on our advocacies to promote the role of SETI in the translation of valuable information into usable forms, in providing solutions to existing and emerging issues, and in addressing development gaps to propel our nation towards sustainable and inclusive growth. Indeed, we want everyone, not only Region 11, but the whole country, to celebrate science and be informed of the remarkable SETI solutions that Davao and Mindanao has to offer. I hope you will all have a productive discussion. Thank you very much, Madayaw, and I wish you a science-filled week. Good afternoon.
All right, thank you po very much to Dr. Sales for that warm welcome. Amid the pandemic, it is an undeniable fact that research and development and innovation is the way to go. Despite the challenges imposed by COVID-19, various techniques and innovations are implemented to streamline knowledge and deliver quality service to the people. Aligned to DOST's mandate, DOST 11 continuously endeavors on gearing society to be more progressive and sustainable in terms of science, engineering, technology, and innovation with the end goal of empowered people and empowered country. Today, as one of our partners in our advocacy towards research and development and innovation, our speaker will discuss about the research agenda of Davao region. Our speaker finished her bachelor's degree in chemistry as cum laude in Ateneo de Davao University. She had two master's degree, one in science education and in chemistry at the University of the Southern Philippines and Ateneo de Manila University. She finished her PhD in education, major in educational leadership at the University of Immaculate Concepcion, Davao. Currently, our speaker is a special science teacher 5 and the research unit head of the Philippine Science High School Southern Mindanao campus. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Dr. Rochelle T. Papasin.
Good day. I'm Dr. Papasin of Philippine Science High School, and I am tasked to talk about the research agenda at the high school level in Region 11. So, for this purpose, allow me to share my screen. So, when we talk about research agenda, first we'll look at the international landscape. So, we talk about the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. If you look at this, these are the areas that are priority for the development of humankind. So if we look at this 17 SDGs very clearly, there are goals that are beyond the high school level. For example, there's practically nothing we could do about partnerships. Very little on in terms of peace, justice, very little probably on gender equality. But we could address areas like coming up with new products to reduce poverty, uh, alternative food to address hunger, clean water, energy. We could look at new products and consumption. There are things we could do. Climate change, action towards mitigating disasters. There are researches that can be done in this area. At the national scene, we also have the harmonized national research agenda. So the pillars are malasakit, pagbabago, kaunlaran. We probably can enter the pillar of pagbabago as outlined in the NEDA updated Davao Regional Development Research Agenda. So in terms of pagbabago, we'll look at expanding economic opportunities in agriculture, forestry, and fisheries, expanding economic opportunities in industry and services. When we study climate, we'll look at reducing vulnerability of individuals and families. So DOST has this strategic framework to advance science, technology, and innovation. So it would start with technology generation, technology adoption, and commercialization of technology. So DOST also has laboratory services, and this is important when we talk about research. So they have conducted nearly 10,000 testing and calibration services in 2019. Apart from the OST, we could also go to Ateneo de Davao University, Davao City Water District, and UIC Science Research Center to assist us in terms of our laboratory needs. Dr. Marie Christine Obusan of the Marine Science Institute of UP Diliman identified the following challenges in mentoring students during their research activities. Research topics can be implemented remotely during pandemic. This is a challenge because we are very much constrained as to what projects can be done remotely. We train students remotely, monitor and appraise their activities also using video, using text messages, how they're doing. Then we could facilitate their researches remotely. So we could help them as they progress with their research. Okay, do this and that. That is very challenging. Okay. There is a limit to collaborative work. They cannot do it at the same time. But there are things that they could do, like one student could do one trial, another student could do another trial, although there are concerns about there are certain researches that would be difficult to do that. Then you have biosafety concerns because students will have to do it at home. And this is a very real concern about their safety, the safety of their families. Dr. Ubusan is research interest is in terms of marine mammals. So there's a focus on what kind of researches can be done. For example, there is a sighting of whales in Davao Gulf. It it would be good for the locals to report their sightings because only the locals can see what's happening in their locality. So going beyond marine, we could look at other sightings and strandings. For example, my co-teacher noticed there were unusual birds that visited their subdivision. So I suggested that she download a guide, bird sighting guide, and she was excited. So you observe what's happening, what are their activities, maybe you could, what time you see them, maybe they're eating, uh, and then what times you don't see them. Those are when they come back, then you also report because she has observed that they have been there for some time. And that's unusual because this is an urban area and you see sighting of an unusual bird. So this is something that will entice scientists to observe the ecosystem. But other researches can be done during pandemic. In silico analysis, meaning using computers, or simple experiments and observational studies with considerations on biosafety. So, for example, the student lives in a near a park with permission from the LGU, a visit to the park to be probably in the presence of a parent to look at the diversity of plant species, taking pictures and recording what are the species present in the park. Then you could also consider plants being sold online. Are they being plucked out of the natural habitat? Because there are plants that are harvested from the forest and then being sold online. So these things can be interesting. The time and tested composting can also be conducted. So from my opinion, these are the three concerns. No? We are on a quarantine, on different levels of quarantine. So we have to abide with the local guidelines on what activities can be done. We also have to be concerned with safety. We might be exposing our students to hazards or their families or even their pets. So safety is a concern. And then access to laboratories. Like mentioned earlier, there are laboratories we could tap, but these are just sending your samples for analysis. Sometimes you have to prepare your samples and they need at least the very basic equipment to prepare, to measure the volume of their samples and so on. So we could modify those activities. What could we do? Here's a landscape of things we could do. Home-based activities like food preparation can be interesting. We're now familiar with malunggay pandesal. Maybe we could have malunggay cookies or malunggay enriched fish cracker because this could be done at home. Arduino. Some people know how to construct a gadget using Arduino. We could allow them to do that. Then we have those who are interested in computers can do programs or data mining activities. In other countries, there are already projects that do not generate data. They just utilize the data available there. And there's actually a lot of data we can use. We are, as a country, we are known to be um, very limited in terms of utilizing the data available. Or you could work along with your students to gamify a difficult concept in science. Since they play a lot of online games, they can make the concept interesting to their peers. Doing environmental studies should support the local activities. So if there's agriculture or aquaculture, fisheries, we could perform environmental studies in that area. There's also urban agriculture. This should be read hydroponics or container gardening. They could do this at home. Then waste management studies like segregating waste and then quantifying the waste generated by a particular household. I have seen a lot of features, for example, in an urban place like in Makati, how much waste is generated per household. But we don't have local data. So it would be good to come up with data about this. Then in terms of product development, like I said, we could come up with new food products, or we could use we could study dyes. So in terms of food products in Singapore, there's a there's actually a project of Swensen where they team up with the students uh, in a polytechnic college. They have this annual contest on novel food items, particularly ice cream. So here we see a fermented prawn ice cream. I haven't tasted a fermented prawn, so I think it would be like bagoong. I'm not sure. So you have that in ice cream. If the product becomes a hit, the student have a gain, not just a certificate, but they will also gain probably profits from this product development. At the same time, Swensen gets advertisement and also does not they do not have to spend for a lot of research because the students perform the research for them. So we could do studies on food blends. And it's not just in Singapore. If you go to Bicol, they have sili ice cream. If you go to Ilocos, they have pinakbet pizza. Okay? We have enriched food, just like what I said, malunggay cookies, or not just malunggay cookies. I know it's already done, yung kalabasa flan. So those kind of leche flan na gawa ng kalabasa, no? So these are things that are actually doable at home. Then indigenous vegetables. I just discovered kulitis. I ignored that before, but with the pandemic, you cannot go do marketing. And I realized that it was was able to prepare very good soup with kulitis. So I planted kulitis, and soon enough, they were everywhere in the yard. So I realized that this is a food source that's underutilized. Maybe there would be other preparations, and in so doing, we say that we upgrade, there's a added to the vegetable. At the same time, we're helping families to cut down food cost. No? So what do you see there? You're addressing poverty and hunger by utilizing something that is available. Okay. In terms of product development, this is from a DOST report. We have Dagmay weaving, the FIDA fiber industry development authority here in Davao has is very active, no? So we have traditional dyes, sources of dyes for weaving. Maybe we could tap other plant sources and see whether are they create patterns or they are color fast in terms of tagmay weaving. There was also this study reported in UP in computerizing the patterns of, I think, woven materials in Ilocos. I'm not sure if it has been done for Dagmay. The reason being, if it is computerized, the the knowledge is passed on to the next generations and not lost when the weaver, the expert weaver, passes away. So Arduino, we could use that to study, we could use construct gadgets that would study the environment like pH, temperature, moisture content of food products. So we do not have to rely on the experience of the farmer to evaluate whether the corn, the palay, or the copra is sufficiently dried. We could use an Arduino gadget to make that measurement more objective. This is a site I got from Facebook. You could look for it, Youth Mappers. There are actually chapters in Davao. So what could they do? They map out the use of the land. They could map war and conflict, so areas that are critical. They could map rural agriculture and maybe map what is the livelihood of girls and women in the locality. So you could, as you could see, you have maps that are colored. So you could superimpose that in a map. And there's a there's a very, very good number of people who are interested in what is happening in terms of maps. There are geographers that meet regularly to see different types of maps. You could also even map the plants, study the plants, and then map where they can be found in the locality, even ornamental plants. A certain group of students at Philippine Science created an earthquake simulation using a program. Then you could also try making students create databases, like identify all those students who went to a particular strand, create a database, and find out what courses they pursued in college or what kind of work do they have presently if they stopped only at grade if they stopped at grade 12. Are they working or are they studying or not doing anything. So these are information that would be important in terms of human development. So for math projects, you could do modeling. I'm not really familiar with this, but one of our teachers mentored a group of students by studying the traffic situation in Ulas. The student literally recorded what was happening, how many vehicles passed a certain point, like really manually counting, and they created a model. I would be interested to find out about our bicycle lane. So if there are students who would count, no, at certain hours of the day, how many how many bicycles are there, or are they actually using the bicycle lane or not? And I'm pretty sure traffic enforcers would appreciate that kind of study. Okay. In terms of data mining, okay, we could model the incidence of disease in a locality. Like now we have COVID. If there is a surge of COVID in the locality, we could ask, I'm not sure if this can be done, data from DOH, and then look at how it spreads, how the disease spreads. So you could create a model. I'm not exactly sure actually if there are enough data points to be able to do that. So this is what I mentioned about waste management. We could quantify and compare waste generation. This is an activity that can allow collaboration. One student studies his household, another student in his household, and then we could compare and ask questions why the data may be different. What are the reasons why this family has a lot of recyclables while this family has little of this? Maybe you could look at family income and also lifestyle. Okay. In terms of the studies of the environment, we could look at globe protocols. Globe protocols are actually very easy to use. Unfortunately, I won't be able to open this because uh, I get lost. So I will just show you the website. You could open globe.gov. This is actually based in US, no? So you could look at their activities. These are areas which could be studied, and there are appropriate ages for them for this the procedures to be performed. So if you're concerned with middle school, grade 6 to grade 8, you could limit that and filter the activities that can be done at their level, studying the atmosphere, biosphere, and so on. For biosphere, for example, you could look at there's a procedure for studying seaweed reproductive phenology. I know we have students living near the shore, so they could use that. How long? You could view the protocol, they will identify the materials needed. How long is it done? 45 minutes, and it is appropriate for our high school. So how will that data be used? If the community is engaged in fishing, then data on seaweed reproduction will support the fishery industry in that area. Measuring tree height. you could find out using a clinometer. So you could actually study the local environment and identify the species of trees and what are present in that area. Then you could use mapping. Now, it could be computerized, or you could use just plain uh, pen and paper to map where the tall trees are. Okay, you only need to create a clinometer using a piece of graphing paper at saka compass and tape measure, and you can do that without really climbing up the tree. So this is a mathematical function to calculate the tree height, or maybe calculate the progress of a building being constructed. So they could also use that. This month, the building has risen this, tapos the next month, ganon. Or even the tall buildings in their place, if it is an urban area. Globe has protocols for the hydrosphere. So there, example, you could have water temperature protocol. There are a lot of protocols that are highly doable. So studying the soil, for example, the lithosphere studies to characterize each horizon. So when you study the horizon, it tells a story. So whenever I pass by an area that's being flattened, so the I see a hill, a side of a hill being exposed, that could be a good um, study site. So these are just the materials you use. And you could, as a teacher, undergo online training and know how this is performed. You can teach your students to study the soil horizon. So I think this is the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening, and I hope you will let your students do science investigations even during this pandemic. So happy sciencing.
All right. Thank you very much for that insightful presentation. Once again, that's Doc Che from the Research Unit Head of the Philippine Science High School Southern Mindanao Campus. Our virtual floor is now open for the question and answer portion. We would like to encourage everyone to please key in your questions in the chat box for the Zoom participants and in the comment section for our Facebook and YouTube live audience. All right, so we already have consolidated some questions po from our YouTube viewers. Right, so the first question po, Doc Rochelle, as a teacher in Pisay, how do you increase the students' interest to do research?
Basically, basically our students are gifted in research in science, so they have a lot of interest. So when they come to us, they talk about what interests them and we engage them. So we talk about many things, give them a different perspective, and that actually stimulates their interest. So sometimes just mere engaging in common talk, anything would actually lead them to think about these topics more.
All right, thank you po, Doc Papasin. So the other question, uh, can you tell us po what organizations or institutions that fund high school R&D projects po?
We don't we don't really look for funds. We did try once to pass a proposal to I think Picard, but it took a while for them to approve it, and the time frame for their approval and the completion of a project did not match. So what we did was just to simply do in-house funding, and we limit the cost of the research for the students and their parents. So if they spend a lot, we have to ask the parents if they are willing to fund. Otherwise, we'll look for alternative projects.
All right. Po. So another question po is there a place where students external students po from Pisay are they welcome po to use facilities for their research or product development po in your school po?
Unfortunately, not this time, or we've never really tried that avenue yet because we have this ISO and we have to get permissions. Plus, there are certain restrictions, like did they have training? Is there going who is going to be responsible? So those things we haven't yet settled. So we don't have a way to accept external students.
All right po. So another question po from Ma'am Espanola. So what are the challenges of doing R&D during the pandemic and any recommendations on how we should address this?
The thing about doing research now depends a lot on the the teacher and the students. So we will start with what they know, what they are able to do on their own. One thing that I saw in Pisay is that we have a very large, we have a wide range of talents. So we have teachers who are able to do math research, and there are students who are interested in math research. So we match them and they explore what things they can do. So we begin with knowing our strengths. So we start from there and then we explore potential projects. So we've used Google Scholar for references just because they are available for free. And that is how we enrich the topics that we will be able to pursue despite this pandemic. Sometimes we also link with people who have better background, like we link with our alumni who are doing research in this area, or teachers or agencies who are involved in one particular area of research.
All right po. So we have a question from our Zoom participant po from Sir Ray Almergendap. Good afternoon po. As a teacher, how are we going to achieve the competencies of research subjects, especially in a modular setting, given that research in the present time is an endeavor that needs internet connectivity? This is due to the fact that we are teaching research even to those full modular students.
Unfortunately, that's really going to be a challenge. In Pisay, we have online remote learning. So we could actually we could engage them in online activities. We could monitor them online. Uh, in terms of modular uh, setup, I would say you could focus on the things that are common in the community. I mentioned earlier, if there is a uh, there's an activity in the community that does food processing, they could do that. They could prepare a different product, and then they could engage the OST to do some objective test for them. So that way we could generate data that can be reliable and valid. So it needs a little imagination how to proceed, and it really is a case to case basis. Yes, I have this group of students who have difficulty with connectivity, and what they did was to focus on um, composting. So the teacher, I don't know if you could do this also, could monitor them through texting. So they could get information that way. And they could also send pictures every now and then. So there are ways to do this and encourage competency in science, but I understand that it is very challenging.
All right po, thank you po, Doc. So the next question is from Sir Jeremiah Bargio. So what would be the best topic or field should we advise our students to focus in based on your opinion po?
It depends on their locality. So if they're near a coastal uh, uh, locale, they can do studies on the properties of seawater, the seaweeds, like what I told you earlier. Explore the globe protocols, because is so much wealth that could be done. If it is modular, you could print off the protocols and let them do that, even if they are in the mountains, in the sea, or even in urban areas. You could choose a topic that is appropriate for them to explore. And they are highly doable because you can look at the limits of the age limits. No? If these are things they could do at home or not. Be sure to check the safety of your students. So that website offers a wealth of opportunities. Now, if you like, you could
All right,
also
thank you po,
link,
ma'am.
sorry,
Oh,
you could
okay po.
also link with Globe
Go on po.
and become a certified teacher. You could link your school, you could upload your data, and you can contribute, and they would recognize your school for contributing data to the website.
All right, thank you po, Doc. So the next question is still from Sir Jeremiah Bargio. So how do we encourage students to focus on topics under research agenda without killing their passion on what they want to do?
You have to channel the interest of the students. I've had students who wanted to do more complex researches this time. So we have to tell them the realities, no? The limits of what we could do, and discuss the pros and cons. And these students realize the limitations. So you have to give them scenarios. What do you think will happen if we did this? What would be the consequence? And on their own, they realize that they have to shift the focus of their research. It's not killing, but they have to address the present situation and find out what they could do. This is actually a problem solving skill that we are doing when we are addressing our present situation. So we're encouraging them to be more creative.
All right po. So, another question po from our YouTube live viewer. So, has there been a particular innovation that has captured most of your interest? What is it po, ma'am, and why?
My particular interest, uh, I'm a mentor of science researchers, and I've been quite engaged in a wide range of researches. And I think because of the widespread interest of my students, I have to walk with them. Uh, but I've been really interested on my personal level. I would be more interested in fiber, in textiles, in dyes, because I interned in the Philippine Textile Research Institute in my college years. So I've been exposed to that kind of research, and I've led students who didn't know otherwise what they would be doing, exploring dyes, exploring fiber, those kinds of things.
All right. Thank you po, Doc. So, the next question is, hi, ma'am. What can you advise to your fellow research coordinator po in handling the studies of students, which has so much potential in the market?
Joining this RSTW is one sure way of helping your students uh, get a place in the market, because joining TAPI, this contest organized by TAPI, that by DOST, provides them an avenue to meet entrepreneurs, inventors, and those who are interested in inventions, and their work can also be protected. I've joined this uh, NSTW contest for like three three times, and we've won. I've sent, I've coached three groups of students to win first place in CIBL National Awards. And each time that we bring the projects there, we would be approached by people who would offer to help the students on how to commercialize their products, on how to get their patents done. So my students have I think received patents, because if they win in the NSTW, they get a WIPO Gold Medal Award, and their work is patented in Geneva, Switzerland.
All right. Okay po, so this question po is from Sir Lil, Dave Jimeda. So if you are to give a suggestion po, how can we better engage with LGUs for support and so that they can also take part in the attainment of Davao research agenda?
Yeah, I would hesitate to really answer that because I haven't tried it myself. But there was a plan. Some uh, After we returned from our training in Singapore, where they encouraged the involvement of the industry in researches, we planned to tap SMCs and LGUs, similar to the setup with Swensen, yung ang tawag niyan, s- ice cream festival, which they conduct annually. So if there is an industry which would allow you to do that, or maybe yung kagawad who could help you arrange a setup like that, I think it would work. It's just that we haven't had the opportunity to try it because when we were on our planning board, the pandemic set in. So we have to put our plans. We have to rest our plans for now.
All right, noted po, Doc. So we have a question po from our YouTube viewer, si Ma'am Ariane Jean Lopez. So do the intensity of a research done on a household level invalidate its result, accentuating the validity of the data you get from it po?
I think there are also ways you could validate your data. You could make your results reliable because you have to follow the scientific method. So for our researches that the students conduct online, we follow the recommended protocols. We also do replications. We tell them, we tell our students that they have to institute controls so that their results can be valid and reliable. Admittedly, it would not be the level of their research at home is not the same when they do it in the lab. But but as far as validity and reliability is concerned, we could also do that even if it is at home.
All right, thank you po, Doc. So this is the last question po from Ma'am Jean Malabarbas from our Zoom participant. So, good afternoon po. Given the present situation, would it be okay if research coordinators or advisors would just lessen the level of difficulty in researches? Does it lessen the essence of a research if the research advisors become more considerate?
We have in our school setup, we have drawn guidelines on what type of researches they can conduct at this point in time. I'm not sure I got the question right, no, but pakiulit ka ng question, medyo mahaba na
Yes.
eh.
So, given the present situation, would it be okay if research coordinators or advisors would just lessen the level of difficulty in researches? Does it lessen the essence of a research if research advisors become more considerate?
The We have definitely lessened the degree of difficulty because we don't have laboratories at home. So initially we said that we could send you the chemicals, and then we realized that that would actually be exposing the students, their households to hazards. So we decided to take the safe route. Instead of doing that, do something that is already available at home. So that means that the level of science would be less compared when you have lab. But to say that the science is compromised, we will not go in that direction. I think we could still do uh, a reliable research even if it's done at home.
All right. Thank you po, Doc. So that's the last question po for this afternoon. Thank you po, Doc. So thank you very
Thank you.
much. Doc, if you have any last statements po or something to promote, please take the stage po.
Oh, may ganun pala. Okay. So, I think this time that we have this pandemic, we're looking at gaining more interest in science. If you look at the national scene or even the international scene, they're considering increasing the funds for science. We now have more respect than we had before. So this is a good time for us to be looking into science and encouraging people to go pursue careers in science. Our alumni before, they were not very active in the local or regional and even national scenes, but today we see our alumni being leaders in their fields, and their research outputs are appreciated not just nationally but internationally. They're making contributions in terms of policies in the government. So I think we start them young as students, and we sow the seeds, but we will reap the benefits in the years to come. So just let your students enjoy science.
Yes, no, thank you po. Indeed, Mono, it really takes time for this. All right. So thank you very much to our participants who actively participated in our webinar. This time, we would like to award a certificate of appreciation to our dear speaker for imparting her knowledge and for sharing her valuable time. So allow me to read the citation. So the Department of Science and Technology Region 11 awards this certificate of appreciation to Ma'am Rochelle T. Papasin, PhD, in recognition of her invaluable contributions in promoting science, engineering, technology, and innovation as tool for the inclusive growth in Davao region. Given this 12th day of November 2021, during the 2021 Regional Science and Technology Week celebration via online platform signed by Dr. Anthony C. Sales, our regional director. All right, so may I request everyone to open their cameras for the photo opportunity with our speaker. Okay, so we have 6 windows. Okay, so what? So everyone, 1, 2, 3, smile. All right, second window. 1, 2, 3, smile. Third window. 1, 2, 3, smile. Fourth window. 1, 2, 3, smile. Fifth window. 1, 2, 3, smile. And the last window. 1, 2, 3, smile. All right. Thank you po, Dr. Papasin, for imparting this substantial information regarding the Davao's research agenda. This would really help our high school students and other aspiring researchers if they want to be involved in the work of research. All right. So at this juncture, let's proceed to our raffle. But before that, we are reminding our participants to both Zoom, Facebook, and YouTube Live to accomplish the registration and CSF form in order for you to receive the training certificate, training materials, and our prizes. This time, let's proceed to our raffle. Winners will receive exciting and limited edition prizes sponsored by DOST 11. May I request our ICT team to spin the wheel? Okay, the first winner for the bamboo notebook goes to. All right, so let's just wait for a few seconds. All right, so the first winner is. Okay, it's Sir Lil Dave Himeda. Congratulations, sir. Okay, so for the next prize, it's the bamboo tumbler. All right, so the winner is. Okay. All right, it's Ma'am Lira S. Rubio. Okay, so the last prize is our limited edition power bank. So the winner is. All right. So, okay, the winner is Ma'am Nikki Jane Manooy. Congratulations to all of our participants who won the raffle prizes. Okay, so before we end, we have some reminders po to all our participants in a Zoom platform, FB, and YouTube Live. Please take note that we will close our registration and evaluation form tonight by 9 p.m. You can also access the forms through the link shown in your screen and the chat box for the Zoom platform and the comment section for FB Live and the YouTube Live. Moreover, please continue to celebrate and join us in our upcoming events. On November 18, join us at the 2021 Rice Davao Regional Awarding. On November 18, join us at the regional. All right, so here's the picture. So there will be various prizes showcasing the different talents and uh, the S&T initiatives coming from our scientists and researchers all around the Davao region. All right, so on November 19 and 26, we'll have a Digital Tayo webinar series. On November 19, we have digital empowerment, and on November 26, we have digital engagement. You can register through the links shown on your screen. All right, so uh, this is a last reminder for all of our participants, even from the previous participants as well. So please take note that the certificates will take at least 2 to 3 weeks before transmittal. So don't worry, po. We will be transmitting once it's available on our side. All right. So that concludes our webinar. In Focus, Davo's research agenda. This has been Engineer Jenner Guria. Once again, good afternoon. Have a productive weekend ahead po.
Regional Science and Technology Week. RSTW is a regional celebration of the National Science and Technology Week. It is conducted and spearheaded by the Department of Science and Technology regional offices across the country. It also serves as a run-up to the national celebration. This year's celebration carries the theme Agham at Teknolohiya, Tugon sa Hamon ng Panahon. The NSTW highlights the significant contributions of science and technology to the national development and has become a platform for heralding S&T advocacy in the country. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, this will be the second year in a row wherein most of the festivities will be held online. So you will continue to enjoy the many offerings of RSTW and NSTW right at the comfort of your home. So what's in store for the 2021 RSTW Davao? DOST Region 11 brings you the 2021 RSTW Davao official lineup of activities. November 3 online launching 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. The Signs of Chocolate 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. November 4 Conservation Education Initiatives for the Philippine Eagle amid the pandemic 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Additive Manufacturing on Medical Applications 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. November 5 Science and Tech amid the pandemic 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Awarding of Best Setup and SES Implementers 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. November 8 to 9 Guide Awareness and the Use of Gender Fair Language Webinar. November 10 Youth Excellence in Science Awards 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. November 12 In Focus Davo's Research Agenda 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. November 16 to 18 2021 Rice Davao Final Round. November 19 Digital Tayo Digital Empowerment 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. November 22, Science from the Eagle's Nest, Episode 1, Halal S&T Program, 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. November 24, Episode 2, Grind Program, 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. November 25, Episode 3, Renewable Energy Resource Potential in the Philippines, 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. November 26, Digital Tayo, Digital Engagement, 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. These are open and free to all. Join and have a chance to win prizes. National Science and Technology Week, Agham at Teknolohiya, tugon sa hamon ng panahon. Regional Science and Technology Week. RSTW is a regional celebration of the National Science and Technology Week. It is conducted and spearheaded by the Department of Science and Technology regional offices across the country. It also serves as a run-up to the national celebration. This year's celebration carries the theme Agham at Teknolohiya, tugon sa hamon ng panahon. The NSTW highlights the significant contributions of science and technology to the national development and has become a platform for heralding S&T advocacy in the country. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, this will be the second year in a row wherein most of the festivities will be held online. So you will continue to enjoy the many offerings of RSTW and NSTW right at the comfort of your home. So what's in store for the 2021 RSTW Davao? DOST Region 11 brings you the 2021 RSTW Davao official lineup of activities. November 3, online launching, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. The Science of Chocolate, 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. November 4, Conservation Education Initiatives for the Philippine Eagle amid the pandemic, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Additive Manufacturing on Medical Applications, 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. November 5, Science and Tech amid the pandemic, 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Awarding of Best Setup and SES Implementers, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. November 8 to 9, Guide Awareness and the Use of Gender Fair Language Webinar. November 10, Youth Excellence in Science Awards, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. November 12, In Focus, Davo's Research Agenda, 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. November 16 to 18, 2021 RISE Davao Final Round. November 19, Digital Tayo, Digital Empowerment, 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. November 22, Science from the Eagle's Nest, Episode 1, Halal S&T Program, 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. November 24, Episode 2, Grind Program, 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. November 25, Episode 3, Renewable Energy Resource Potential in the Philippines, 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. November 26, Digital Tayo, Digital Engagement, 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. These are open and free to all. Join and have a chance to win prizes. National Science and Technology Week, Agham at Teknolohiya, tugon sa hamon ng panahon.